Well, hey everybody. We're going to do a real quick hangout on what's called Euler's formula and Euler's identity. Um, Basically, it's kind of an interesting little thing of mathematics, which I think is one of the most elegant formulas of all mathematics. I'm not exceptionally familiar with it. I mean, I know enough to probably talk about the basics, and so it's just going to be me at midnight unless anybody wants to join us. But I'm going to kind of go over just what Euler's identity is. And by the way, it's Euler, but it's pronounced Euler. And kind of explain to him why the Euler's identity can be derived from Euler's formula. So we're going to go right into it. We're actually use the wiki page. I'm not doing it from my normal math program. I think the wiki kind of explains it just fine.
Yeah, that's fine.
So we're gonna go to that. Between that and Wolfram Alpha, I think we'll be okay. Oh, let me. Don't want to ignore anybody in the live feed if they're coming by. Oh, go to that. Let me give you a mods real quick in case anybody wants to join us. Then we'll start into it. Sound good?
You're cleaning in geometry. Now we're talking. Now I was just reading what RSC was saying. Yes, ready.
Oh, I haven't got to the live chat yet. I'm putting it up right now. Okay. Oh, hey RSC. Okay. Steve reads wiki. Yes. This is what's it called? School of Wiki. School of Wiki. Awesome, right? Well, you know what? I mean, why copy it over? It's like right there, just to use it, I guess.
Wiki,
right?
not to spend too much time. Wikipedia has gotten a bad rep. I mean, just look at the sources in the wiki article itself. You know what I mean? Anyways,
Wiki's pretty decent, man. Wiki does get a bad rep.
I mean, yeah.
There's probably minor little things here and there, but overall, I think it's pretty accurate. So.
Yeah, well, as you said, bad reputation, bad rep. All right.
All right. So
let's do this. Learning is fun for me, anyway.
Let's see. I mean, I know you guys are seeing both my screens here, so I don't know if I can how I'm gonna make this bigger. See here if I can. I'll try to blow this up a little bit.
Can't you choose which one you're sharing? Why is it sharing both screens?
I think I can. One sec. Let me try. All right. There we go. How about just that? Does that work?
Yep, that works.
Perfect. This way I can't see the live chat though. But well, you know what? Actually, maybe I can. I think I can. There we go. Okay. So what this is basically Euler came up with this when he was looking at the unit circle. The unit circle is this right here. Basically, this says that if you go on the x1 and you go on the y1, anywhere in between there, right? Anywhere in here, when you take the cosine of theta, this is your theta angle. This is the angle from the x to the vector, right? Remember we were talking about vectors before, and we said, okay, the vector was a direction, right?
Sorry, go ahead.
The vector's a direction, right?
Yes.
So this vector, all you need to know is the magnitude and the angle, and you can get to any polar coordinate. So this point right here.
Can I say something really quick?
Yes.
Okay, look, you know, to correct me if I'm wrong, but the reason why it's called a unit circle and you use one is because it makes it easier. It makes it easier to, to do the calculations. But but what you learn using the unit circle is true of every circle, any size.
Yes, yeah, exactly. It's easier. I think it's just easier to see when you just make it 1-1, right?
Yeah,
everything kind of nice and works out, and everything's a circumference, a ratio, or as they say, whoever it was.
I wasn't sure.
The ratio of the circumference to the diameter to pi, whatever that nonsensical thing was.
Yeah, I just wasn't sure. That's why I said correct me if I'm wrong, but
no, you're right. Let me keep losing the live feed here. Let me throw that over there. We should be okay. Okay, so because if anybody's like going to help out in the live chat, please let me know because I haven't gone over this stuff for a while. So let me go back to Euler's formula. So what Euler's is saying is basically this is theta, right? So it's e to the ix cosine x plus I sine x, or actually e to the I theta equals cosine theta I sine theta. So if you remember trig, and again, very basic trig here.
Yes.
The opposite over adjacent, opposite over hypotenuse. You remember all that, right?
Vaguely. Yeah, I mean, I gotta go back and into it, but vaguely, yes.
If I have theta here, which is the angle, if I take sine of the angle, it gives me the opposite. If I get cosine theta, it gives me the adjacent, right?
Yeah.
Okay.
Also, tan is basically sine over cosine without cosine being 0.
Yes, right. So what this is a composite of x and y here, basically. See, if I say cosine theta plus I sine theta, this is a composite here, and then the way you get to Euler's identity, you said, how do I get e to the I pi minus 1 equals 0, right? Now, you might see it written this way, right? E to the I pi plus 1 equals 0. But
Yes.
if you move 1 over here, then you get e to the I pi equals minus 1. Now, I like it this way. Do you know any particular reason why I think I prefer it this way rather than e to the I pi minus 1 equal, or sorry, e to the I pi equals negative 1?
Because making it equal 0 is actually, no, I don't know.
The reason is simple, actually. There's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 very important constants here. Right?
Yeah.
I mean, you have 0, which is extremely important in mathematics, right? You have 1, which is the multiplicative identity, right? And the 0, which is the additive identity. You have pi, which is one of the most important constants there is, right?
Well, I mean, I would say, yeah, I would say pi is one of the most important constants in the universe.
Yeah, absolutely. And so when you have e to the I pi plus 1 equals 0, you have 5 really important things going on. That's what the elegance of this identity. But let's see how we get that, right? Yeah, actually, Matt Spangler got it correct in the live chat, or at least not correct, but he agrees with me. It relates to 5 most fundamental numbers, right?
Yes. Also, I mean, I'm sure you probably don't want to do this now, but why did Barney do e to the I pi divided by 2?
Because he's one of those damn Taoists.
But
no.
It seems.
Okay, let me explain what that is. I'm actually kind of a Taoist too. Taoism is basically what like Weihart calls people that instead of having 2 pi, you just call it T, which is Tao. And if it's
yes, I've seen. I watched the V Hearts or V or whatever. Weihardt's video on it. And it was like, but it's still the same thing, so it doesn't really matter if you call it pi or 2 pi. Like, well, I don't know.
The reason because when you make 2 complete rotations of 2 pi, and you just put it as T, it's easier to work with certain formulas. That's all.
Yeah, fair enough. I mean, it's the same concept, just different symbols. Different symbols. Doesn't really matter in the end of the day.
Yeah, like I said, it's just when you start working with radians, though, Tau's a little easier to use. And by the way, this is going to be in radians. I pulled a faux pas earlier. I couldn't get it to work, and I was like, "What's going on here?" And I did the same thing that most people in PreCalc do. You forget that you're working in radians, and you think you're so used to working with degrees, right?
Well, yes, Steve.
Can I make degrees?
No, it doesn't. Can I mention how you convert between degrees and radians?
Sure.
Okay. So if I remember correctly, you would convert you would do like let's say take 90 degrees and you times it pi by pi over 180. That you convert that to radians. But if you want to convert to radians to degrees, you would do 180 over pi, right? Or
yeah, it's okay. Well, radians equals pi over 180 times your degrees. I'm looking. I want to make sure I got it right. I'm looking up right now. So radians equals pi over 180 times degrees, or degrees equals 180 divided by pi times radians.
I mean, am I impressing you here? I'm not trying to do that, but
that's good. So I mean, if you look at the inner circle, right? Basically, as you go along here, right? You would have 180 degrees, which is opposite here, right? I mean, this is your 90. So 90 degrees would be pi over 2. Right at 180, which would be right here, that'd be pi. Then what is it? 270, which is down here.
Hold on, it's 3
pi over 2.
Yes, right? 3 pi over 2. I was just gonna say that, and then 360 is just 0 again.
2 pi.
Kind of. Oh yeah, right. 2 pi. Right.
And that's why but that's why they like tau, right? Because 2 pi is your full 360, right? So it feels like I'm working with the whole circle. So I'm just saying 360 converted to radians is t for standing for tau, or well, the tau symbol, which could be t. Well, whatever little funny looking t, right? But that's just the same as saying 2 pi. So when you're asking, well, why do we want to use tau? Well, because we're working with a 360 circle. That's why. Okay.
Yeah.
That makes sense.
Yeah, and and as I said, I think the only reason why people, well, okay, one of the only reasons why people people find math hard is the symbols. They get confused. They see all these strange symbols and they're like, oh, they're too afraid. You know what I mean?
Well, I mean, you do kind of have to know what these symbols mean. But let's jump into this. Let's see here. Let's go into where
I see
where it talks about. We're going to just go into Euler's identity as soon as I find it down here. It was on here somewhere. At least I thought it was. We don't. Oh, do you recommend? Do you remember this? Does this look familiar?
Yeah, the power series.
Right, but I mean, do you remember what series? I mean, it is a type of.
Hey, hold on. Is it the Taylor series?
Yeah, this is actually Maclaurin series, but a Maclaurin series but a Maclaurin Maclaurin is a type of Taylor series. It's just you're starting at x equals a, or zero. You're zero for your origin there, whatever it's called. It's what is it, x equals a for Maclaurin series? But
by the way, a type of Taylor. Saying in the chat that they can't see the mouse.
Oh yeah, I know. It's kind of not working too well. I've got to pick up a little tablet, so don't worry about the mouse. I'll direct you because it's not going to work right. But yeah, just remember that all Maclaurin are Taylor series. A equals 0 in Maclaurin. Yeah, thanks you, Max. So all Maclaurin series are Taylor series, but not all Taylor series are Maclaurin series. Okay.
And if you notice at the bottom, it proves that cos x plus I sine. Like, yeah, this is okay.
Okay, this is where the Euler's identity is. So let's just jump right into it. Because I mean, we can get into another time the unit circle and the complex conjugates and figuring out all these different phase angles and stuff like that. It's actually pretty interesting. Polar coordinates is actually interesting compared to the Cartesian, but I have to brush up on that myself, to be honest with you. I haven't worked with that in ages. Once you get out of vector analysis, it's like, yeah, I just brain dump that stuff, right? But the way you get to Euler's identity, which is a special case for Euler's formula, is pretty actually easy, right? What it is it's the actual Euler's formula, right? And adding up these two things, it'll equal e to the ix. What happens when I stick in pi for x, though? Okay, remember x stands for theta in this particular case, and you could write it as I sine theta. But what happens when I put in pi, right? Well, this part right here, cosine pi is equal to -1.
And then sine pi equals 0. So it follows that -1 plus 0i equals 0 is identity. Since plus
0i is 0.
Yeah, since 0, the -1 plus 0i is 0. Following the form a plus bi. I'm going into too much detail, but yeah, that's.
You're right. There you go. That's it. I told you it's not complicated, right? Remember I was saying, Euler's identity, Euler's identity is not that complicated once you understand.
Well, no, it's not complicated.
Formula, right?
You get it? Exactly.
It's a very simple proof here. I mean,
once you understand the concepts, everything is, I don't want to say easy, but easier. Like it's.
And you could, and I put this in Wolfram Alpha mode. You can actually see, and I'll blow this up a little bit so the outside chat can see. This actually works, right? I mean, it actually evaluates e to the I pi equals -1 when you put it into. Now, again, don't make the same mistake I did when you use Wolfram Alpha.
Why? Hold on. Shouldn't you have done e?
Yeah,
that.
It works. Trust me. Yeah, true. See?
Yeah, there you go.
Yeah. Good catch. But yeah, it's e to the I pi. Don't make the same mistake I did and put this in degrees. Don't try putting like 45 degrees in here. It's not going to work. You have to put like in radians. So like it's pi over 2, or we'll just do 2 pi. Which one? 2 pi. Okay, so 2 pi, which is 360 degrees, right? Or 1 tau. Let's see. Okay. Hopefully it holds true here. There we go. Yay.
Yeah. It still does. True. It
holds true. So as long as you're working in radians, this will actually, work out okay. Once you try to put a 45 degree in there, it doesn't work. I tried.
Well, I mean, can you try it? Can you show me that it doesn't work?
Oh yeah, sure. So 45 degrees, 45. Yeah, it comes up some weird thing. I don't even know how to parse it. It's basically on this side it's I plus 1 plus I over the square root of 2, and over here it's e I 45. It doesn't work, right?
uh,
So yeah,
that is odd. That is odd. That only works in radians. Like why? That that's just one of those things that you gotta go like, why? It's the same.
no, well, it's really not, because in radians you're working directly with the unit circle, right? And as Max in the live chat points out, any multiple in here that you put for n, when you put he showed if you put n in here, and I think I actually have to put a multiplication thing in there. Any value for n, it's gonna work, right? I mean, it's just all you're doing is times each term by a constant, right?
Yeah.
So it would work out. Now I don't think you can do this in here, but under the programs you should be able to put like n equals 3, and I don't think you can do it in Wolfram Alpha, but we'll give it a shot. Nope. Oh no, it is.
Yeah, you can.
Oh, nice. See, Wolfram Alpha is a whole different language of itself, and sometimes you got to like manipulate it to get it to actually work. Yes, Max, you're being noticed. I have 2 screens right now with this little piece of crap 15-inch that I had from years ago that was at my sister's that I saved from being just damaged in the rain because she left it outside. But yeah, it's lousy quality. It's so bad compared to this other monitor I'm using, but it works for a monitor. What do they call it? A monitor.
A monitor. Okay.
Yeah, monitor.
That's good enough.
Pi. So yeah, pi is 180 degrees, which is not 45 degrees.
No, but see, people are more used to degrees. Like I don't know, degrees seem easier for us, but yeah, mathematically you want to use radians. Luckily, there's easy ways to convert between the two. So,
well, yeah, well, I also like feet and inches too, but that's but I have to. You have to do the metric system as well.
Yeah. Oh, is it over already?
Yeah, that's all that's really to it. There's really not much else to it. I don't know really where else to go. I mean, we'll have to do a separate hangout if you really want to get into more of the unit circle type stuff, which, again, I probably have to review a little bit. Trigonometric functions are not my area that I studied a lot, to be honest with you. I sucked at trig, so I was able to do it, but when you start getting into this, like, hyperbolic, arctangent, whatever, it's like, yeah, it's just a conceptual nightmare. But maybe we get somebody to do a trig thing.
I know you meant nightmare, but it came out as nightmare.
Oh, did I? You know what? Sorry, I am not doing that well.
I'm sorry to hear.
And it's been harsh, but so I haven't been sleeping too well, sitting too well. So forgive my for pause.
Well, no, it's fine. I just like I said, I just appreciate you doing this.
Yeah, one day we'll have to get somebody that actually knows trig pretty well, and they'll have to come in and they'll have to explain on the unit circle. Okay, here's not just code and cosine and sine. We all know what those are, and we all probably could figure out what like cotangent is and stuff. But there's also other things like secant, obviously, cosecant, hyperbolic functions, and things like that. So, anyways, we have any quick questions from the live chat? Like I said, this is a very short hangout. Might be doing something a little bit after this, but I'm going to go.
We need base 12.
we need base 12.
Oh,
there are a lot of people that do advocate that. Seriously, there's a few people out there like, let's go to the Dewey Decimal System, and I'm like, yeah, there's some advantageous reasons for that, but those,
hold on. So okay, base 10 is just 0, 1, 2, 3. Hold on. If base 10 is 0, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, is base 11, base 12, 0, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11? How does base 12 work?
It's a dozenal system, right? So it's going to be it's so basically
Jesus.
I haven't looked at dozenal in ages. I don't even know what to use. I know hexadecimal, but dozenal, I mean, I haven't looked at it in a while. So, Maybe in the live fat feed. I could look it up, I guess.
Well,
But
I know. I know there's base 2, which is binary. Then base 6, not base 8, which is octagon.
no, octal. Octal
Right, octal, and then base 16, which is hex. Then base 12, which they just said
is duodecimal, or also they call it dozenal.
Oh.
The med wants to know my weight loss update. I pretty much have lost a good solid, just be conservative, 10 pounds since I started my diet.
Are you sure you're not getting sick due to the diet? I mean, maybe there's something you're doing.
No. This is acute. This is definitely a physical thing. This is not me just sick. It's not. No, it's nothing like that. But no, I've been eating healthy. And actually been liking healthy foods, so that's good. But yeah, I mean, I actually had to go out the other day. I had to go out last night to go shopping, and my pants fit. I was like surprised. I could actually usually I have to. I'm not lying. This sounds really bad, but whatever. I have to unbutton them, right?
Yeah, well, nice. That's good.
But I could actually button it up and not be like, can't breathe. You know.
Yeah, and you feel obviously you feel healthier too.
No, I wasn't really fat. It's just I was heavier than I would want it to be, right? I don't think anybody would even notice if they weren't really paying attention to my gut. But
well, I mean, every time you're on camera, you're always sitting down, so it's not like anyone could tell you.
Yeah, no, I actually I showed Eo my gut. Yeah, off air, I showed him my gut. It's a little plunge, but no, it's not. It's gone. It's really gone. I mean, I've noticed that it's gone down. I can feel that it's gone down. So, but that's what my whole point of the diet was, right? And to lose it over a specific period of time, so you don't just gain it back. But I started off at 210.4, and I'm now down to about 199 to 200, give or take, right? So it's definitely
my mouse just died. I almost said my mother died. What?
Yeah, that would have been worse.
Your
mouse would replace. Yeah, that would have been bad.
What is the battery out already? Oh, these batteries are such pieces of crap. Let me see.
Well, let's get some. If anybody in the live chat, anything they want to address on this? Was it, pretty basic? At least explained how we get Euler's identity from Euler's formula. Because, like I said, that's not hard at all.
There we go.
And then if they want to give a recommendation of what they want to see for a future presentation, I am working on one for matrix eventually. I am working on one for more derivative type stuff. And eventually I'd like to actually do one on integrations. But integrations are hard. So I don't know if I'm going to be able to pull that one off.
Well, yeah, I mean, I suppose they are hard, but I've done some of them. And integration just seems like you're taking the derivative and timesing it by the main function. You know what I mean? So, say you have have x squared, the most the famous function, and the derivative is 2x. You would do 2x times x squared. I mean, I know it's a little more complicated than that, but it's
no. But you seem to have a good handle on it when I was actually doing the implicit differentiation. You seem to understand exactly kind of what was going on, where you do a derivative with respect to x and with respect to y, right?
Yeah, and I practiced before. Using math is fun. I also on a Coursera. I'm still have to finish it. The Calc 1 course on Coursera. I think I'm pronouncing that right. Coursera. Free. Well, it's a free learning thing. It offers various courses. It's like the MIT open course, which I love, by the way. I was looking through some of them. They got string theory on there, quantum mechanics, and I'm like, I'm in heaven.
Well, like I said, give me some feedback on the live chat of what you guys want to see for presentation. I'm actually enjoying these math hangouts. I know we don't get a lot of viewers on it. It's not for the views.
RSC
really
wants to know about the hidden figures.
I have no idea what that means, to be honest with you.
Big fat. Come on, Eric W. Be nice.
I don't know what that means.
Well, no. Eric W. just called you Steve McFat, and I'm like, be nice.
Oh, I was. Well, to me, I mean, I was, bigger than I wanted to be. Max says integration is a bitch because there's no equivalent for the chain rule and product rule and taking an antiderivative. That's true. Integration's hard. Taking a derivative not nearly as difficult as finding.
Why isn't Max on here?
I don't know. Good question, Max. Why don't you come and join us for these days? Oh, he is talking about Hidden Figures, the movie. Yeah, I haven't seen it yet, RC. Sorry.
Oh, Hidden Figures. I still got to watch that. So someone else also mentioned it a while ago. I read something or L. You know who I'm talking about?
Nope. Oh, yeah. I know who you're talking about. I read what guy was sticking his finger up in the air.
Yeah, just I saw that avatar, and I'm like, what? That's pretty weird.
Oh, Max says I haven't been added, but asked, but I appreciate an invite. Sure. You want to come in, Max? I might have to find you on here. Hang on. Oh my goodness.
Well, I mean, he's got a point. He hasn't been asked.
I'm gonna have to find him on G+. I sent you a direct link. Well, I sent you a starting conversation, Max. Make sure it's the right Max, and then you can respond to me on that. Mutable Destiny, who's really good at math. You need to understand polar coordinates. You need to understand polar coordinates to appreciate Euler's identity. Yeah, no, I agree with you on that. And that's what I said at the beginning.
Polar coordinates. Another weird one.
Well, we could do a presentation on that, how to convert like polar coordinates into Cartesian and how to convert Cartesian into polar.
Hold on a sec. I think I remember this. Radius, you would do the square root of x.
No, we're not going to start it. It's
all right.
It's beyond the scope of this particular hangout. But if we want to do it afterwards in another one, that's fine. It's not terribly difficult to convert one or the other, but it's kind of a pain, I guess you can say. I mean, it's pedantic to say the least.
Yeah, Steve, imagine being me wanting to learn too much.
Curse you, right? Curse you. Max, you have to go into your G+. You have to go into your Gmail, and you'll find it there. And Immunity Destiny says, although it's truly not Euler's identity, as true identity of his relates heavily to that of the Riemann zeta function. That would be a net. See, I wouldn't mind doing a hangout on the Riemann zeta function. Yes, I actually know what the Riemann zeta function is, Immutable Destiny, but that's way out of the scope of what we have been doing. Right? That's like way past Calc 1. But if you actually do want to do Immutable Destiny, God, see, I can't talk, guys. I'm sorry. You can actually tell that I'm really not doing that great. Immutable Destiny. If you want to do a hangout on Riemann zeta function, I'm down with that, right? And gamma function as well, right? So those are two pretty interesting functions. So I would be okay with that. I have been meaning to watch George, oh God, I butchered his last name and I feel so bad. George Hucktek. He's going to kill me on that if you ever watches this video. Please, George, you got to tell me how to pronounce your last name properly. He just did one on Fourier. No, wait. Fourier transfer. No, wait. Laplace transformations. No, what was it? No, what did he do it on? Was it Laplace or Fourier transformations? I'm trying to remember, and I haven't watched that video yet, but that's going to be interesting.
Steve, have you looked at the live chat?
Yeah, I'm watching it. No, thanks. Yeah, and but he totally doesn't know anything, right? Steve's a dumb according to some people. Yeah, I know. I get they underestimate me. It's okay. I don't mind, man. It's just the way it is. I find that if I am okay to talk about this stuff and people want to like listen, that's great. If they're able to join in and help with it, that's even better. If I make an error on the math, please by all means point it out, right? But it's not like I haven't been exposed to any of this stuff, right? I did take mathematics. So Immutable says, I'd be down for a hangout with the Riemann zeta and gamma function. They are both exceptionally useful. I agree. And also, again, If we if have somebody really good, we could actually get into the like Fourier transformations and Laplace, but those again beyond the scope, and I haven't really worked with those too much beyond a very basic overview of them. Right? It's like when we had to take PDEFs, we really didn't go into much detail of or PDEs. I'm sorry. Normally there's types of
Jim Hill. Sorry to interrupt you, Steve.
Sure.
Weird how no clown posse shows up to these shows.
They're
Gee,
invited.
I wonder why.
Yeah, they're invited.
I know, they're invited.
Yeah, they're invited. I mean, this is supposed to be for everybody, right? Education's education. But I was saying that there's ordinary differential equations, partial differential equations, and PDEs are interesting, but we never got that much into them. We were only exposed to a very simplistic version of PDEs.
I really should mute myself when I'm laughing. I don't understand. I need to explain this to me. Oh my god. I'm gonna have a heart attack from laughing too hard.
Jim says, yeah, I don't understand. I need Ronnie to explain this to me. Yeah, well, maybe Ronnie come and explain this to us as well. I would love it if they did a presentation. I really would. I would be like down for it. I would be sitting there eating popcorn. Look, RC says, Steve, what math channels do you follow? I really like 3 Blue, 1 Brown, if you know who that one is.
Yeah, he's very good. His voice, well, aside from his voice being soothing, he does good math.
Yep, I really like her. She used to go by Integral Calc. I think she goes by, oh goodness, Math Boyfriend or something, or Math Girlfriend. I don't remember. Math BFF. Thank you, Nim. Yeah, Math BFF. I think she used to be called Integral Calc, or there was somebody looked just like her that did Integral Calc.
Number File is good too.
Number File. Yeah, I've talked to him before.
Have you?
Yeah. Well, I've been on his page, and I mean, not talked to him, but he's responded to some of the things that I've written. And
3 Blue, 1 Brown, yeah.
Let's see here. The Laplace, Immutable Destiny says, the Laplace and Fourier transforms are relatively simple to calculate, except for when you consider Euler's differential equations, where the coefficients of the derivative are nonlinear terms. I don't even know what the hell that means. I do. But I agree with it, just because you know what it means. So I'm just going to go out on a limb and say, yeah, it sounds about right.
Number 5, Logger.
God.
Ledger.
Max can't figure out how to get in. I don't know how to explain it to him. You have to go to your Gmail, and the Gmail will have the link there. Oh, you know what? I could try to add you internally, but I don't know how it's going to work. How do you spell Max Spiegel's last name? Well, I see one, but I don't know if this is him. Ask him if I'm not looking at the live chat. Ask him if he has a picture of a guy in a suit with glasses, smiling as his G+.
Hold on. I think he does. Let me click on his profile just to make sure.
And is that Max at mudcat dot something?
Yeah, he does. No, hold on. No, hold on. Not a guy in a suit, but he does have a picture of a guy in sunglasses looking up.
No, that's different. I mean, it's a different picture, but hey, there's only one Max Spiegel that comes up. But is your email mudcat, Max?
By the way, Jim Hill wants to know your opinion of Common Core. It's math.
Okay, that's his. Okay, I'm sending you right now. Oh, Jim, that's a good question, my friend. Wow.
Please be against it. Please be against it.
Hang on. I'm really glad you asked that, because I have a daughter involved in school, actually. So this is something that's very personal to me. Common Core English, I have no problem with, right? The Common Core Math, they can suck my ass. It is so bad, so horrible, it's so wretched that whoever came up with this program needs to go back into like remedial and be smacked on the ass with a ruler.
Well, I mean, Steve, there's a video, of one of the founders saying, and this is on video, that the reason why he created Common Core is to fight white privilege. I mean, I know you don't want to go there. I'm just saying.
I've heard something similar to that. I don't know about that, but it doesn't really matter. I don't want to go to the argument of motive.
All right, whatever.
I can just tell you what I've seen, but the way they want to go about doing certain problems, and I've seen this firsthand. I've actually helped people with some of their Common Core stuff. I had to look at it and go, what the hell are they even asking here? It's ridiculous.
2
I had
plus
a
2
friend.
equals 5.
Well, hang on. I had a friend that was a nurse, right? Pretty intelligent person. We were going over her daughter's homework. We're like, we don't know how to figure this out. It was ridiculous. But I've seen some of the Common Core program. I've looked into it. It's, and then they like, for example, they start talking about arrays in like first grade.
They should do research on it.
They're not going to know what an array is at first grade, right? And it's just, it makes no sense. My white privilege, RSC says my white privilege is showing. Is that what it is?
Yeah.
Oh God.
Oh, okay.
Don't make me laugh. I'm not trying to be awful here, but I'm not kidding. When I laugh, it's like, oh God, it hurts. But whatever. It's funny, right? But it does.
Well, Jim Hill, okay, you could see it that way as challenging kids, math in a new way, but at the same time, to me, it just feels like, it's just discouraging them kid, by making math so hard to understand, making math so hard to understand that they simply give up.
Yeah, no, I think so too. I mean, my daughter struggled in some of her classes. She's not bad at math, but the kids didn't understand it. I sent it to the new email there, Max. But the kids didn't understand it. But the teacher I had talked to, yeah, Max, I just sent it to Turing Testable. The teacher that I talked to said that she's actually teaching it both ways. And this was back when she was in 5th grade, that she was teaching it the newer way and the more old-fashioned way, right? I mean, when we learned basic math, it was, okay, divide this, carry the 1, put a little hashtag, and you have 0 and you put 9 and that kind of stuff, right? They don't really teach that much, and I think it's very sad that they don't, because I think those were very effective ways for pedagogical in ways of explaining things. So pedagogical, you know what? I have a hard time with that word too, like Drag does. Pedagogical. Yeah, we'll go with that. Certain words just suck. What are you gonna do? Right?
But yeah, I really should do some research in Common Core one of these days.
Pedagogical, whatever. One day I'll get that word down.
I mean, I only know bits and pieces of it. Like I said, there's a video of the guy saying that, which raises suspicion. Then plus the fact that 2 plus 2 equals 5. I've seen some videos of people complaining about it. Kids
I think that was a little overblown, though, to be honest with you. There was some parts where they were like, well, if you can justify your answer, but I think that kind of like went to the wayside once it was kind of put into practice. I think most of them realized that's pretty stupid. So, I mean, there are some things at Common Core that's okay. I mean, like RC says, they break it down to the simplest terms, and for people that are bad at math, it might be a little bit better.
But hold on, the way,
yeah, we'll go with that. Yeah.
But the way math was taught before, before Common Core was
terrible word. Yeah, sorry.
It wasn't.
People in the live chat talking about this word. It's a terrible word. And when you got a speech impediment, I mean, I know Max has, or maybe Midnight has one. I have one. Certain words just are not going to come out right. That's one of the words that I cannot pronounce correctly, and I can't pronounce certain words with R's. I can't roll my R's. Never going to roll my R's. My Spanish teacher wanted to freaking lose her freaking mind, because I am genetically, I think, incapable of rolling my R's. Can you? Midnight, can you roll your R's? That sucks. That sucks. You make a horrible Spanish-speaking person, because I can't either, man.
Well, okay, then that makes fun.
Say dog in Spanish. Do you know how to say dog in Spanish?
17 plus 5 is now 5 plus 5 plus 5 plus 2 plus 5. How is?
Yes, okay. Jim has a point, and this is a pro and con. What they want to do is they want to be able to break down numbers and factor them and stuff like that, which is a very basic thing. But the problem of doing that, they are trying to tailor these types of Common Core things for you to get out of high school and go right into being a cashier. So, right, like Jim says, it's a way to count up from counting change and useful and pragmatic for life. That's very true, right? But I have to tell you, I don't think it really helps them actually learn some of the concepts to the point where they're going to get on a college level. Maybe that's just me.
Yeah, so
Right? I mean,
it just seems like
right, but that's what I've seen. I've seen problems with people with that. So
Max says no email yet. You know, you could just put the link in chat and then delete it really quickly.
yeah, I guess it doesn't really matter. If we get sniped, it doesn't matter because the hangout's already kind of over. So
yeah,
we're just kind of shooting. But that's the link, and then I got cameraman on. So come on in real quick, Max. As soon as you get in, I'll delete it.
Oh yeah, hold on. Before you do that, never mind. I was gonna say spam folder Max, but you already did
Yeah,
it.
it's okay. It's one of those things. What's the worst that can happen? As soon as you say that, you find out really what the worst that can happen is, right?
Okay,
click that link, Max.
Click the link that Steve put in chat.
Click the link. Click the link. Maybe he's using a browser that doesn't work. You have to use Chrome. Firefox won't work.
Yeah.
Or Opera, which works okay.
Or you know, Internet Explorer. That's still around.
I don't know if Internet Explorer even works for Hangouts anymore. The only two I know
I haven't tried, so
Chrome and Opera. I prefer Opera if I can't, but Chrome does work either.
I wonder, you know, I wonder how long we'll have to wait before. Wait, you did what? You clicked on it? Is he here?
No, it won't work for him. What kind of system is he using? I mean, is he using like Safari? Lou says Firefox works if you're using Linux. That might be true. I don't know. I haven't tried yet. I am running Linux. Oh, there he is. He got it.
Oh, okay. Hello, Max.
Max, welcome. Okay, you have to go unmute. Have you been in a Hangout before? You can turn off your camera. You can go up to the very top. RC's go back to Netscape. No, dude, nobody's going to use Netscape. Not going to happen. You have to go to the very top. There's a little bar that comes up. Move your mouse to the very top of the Hangout. There's a bar that comes up. There's two red things. One. It'll be the microphone. So you want to like turn off. You can turn off your camera, and then click. There we go. Can you hear? Max?
Can you hear me?
Yes.
It says my mic. Oh, good. Awesome. Yeah. Cool. Hey, nice to meet you guys.
Do you want your camera? Do you want your? There we go. Okay. Yep. So unmute.
Get off, right?
Yeah, you're good to go. Yay! Have you been in a Hangout before?
All right. Well, I followed you guys off and on, and I certainly followed the KC debates, KC versus Ken Hovind debates at least, really closely. And
awesome.
Those were awesome.
Your mic is a little bit off, but we can make it out. But this is your first Hangout?
Yeah, it is. I'll adjust it for
awesome.
I anticipate this.
Hey, we popped another cherry, guys.
Yeah, well, I'm happy to be.
Go ahead.
Yes, my background is in physics. I did not get a degree, so I can't really say I'm an expert or anything, but I've got a background in it, and I tutor computation and mathematics up through differential equations, and I specialize, I guess, in artificial intelligence and multivariable calculus. So that's
awesome! So you're going to be somewhere that we're going to rely on for make sure that this math is correct when we put it out there and stuff.
And I actually, you were streaming on derivatives.
Max, welcome.
We're streaming on derivatives and stuff.
Okay, you have to go unmute. You're. By the way, you're listening to the live feed. That's why you're getting that echo. You need to turn that video off.
No, I got. Can you hear me?
Yeah, we can hear you, but you have the video playing. You have the live feed playing at the same time, so you're getting that echo effect.
What should I turn off? No, I've never done it.
You need to go where you're watching the live feed and turn that video off or turn the sound off for that particular window.
Button or on
you have to go to the very top. There's a little bar that comes up. Move your mouse. Oh, you're way behind that too on that video.
Which screen, bro?
Can you find the screen? The one that you were watching, that's still playing.
I hope Immutable comes down soon.
You mean the YouTube video?
Yeah. Nim says, I remember Max explaining how the second law of thermodynamics didn't disprove evolution to a Hovenite. Yeah, that's a good one, by the way. I've done that as well, right? I've even had that discussion with Dr. Safadi, who's like, oh, well, I'm a physicist and I know about the law of thermodynamics. And I was even asking him, I was like, okay, great. I understand. You have a legit PhD. You're a very brilliant biochemist. You're a smart guy. I'm not going to lie. He's a genius. Explain to me how evolution's violated by the second law of thermodynamics. I never got a straight answer. Never will you get a straight answer from a creationist on that particular question.
Well, to me, that brings into question as to whether you even understand what you're talking about. I mean,
Well,
yeah,
I
he's
think
got a
he doesn't care,
PhD, but
you reach a certain level of creationism where you no longer care if it's true or not. I think, right?
yeah, okay.
But yeah, he couldn't explain that. But the reason being is it's pretty simple. There's two reasons why, and then Max could, when he fixes this stuff, he can chime in. There's two reasons why I can say that the second law of thermodynamics is not violated by evolution. One, the second law of thermodynamics only deals with an isolated system, which is the only isolated system is the universe. It's basically saying that in any kind of reversible thermodynamic process where there's an increase of entropy, there has to be a net overall increase of entropy to the universe. But there could be localized decreases, especially in evolution. That's called ratcheting, where you can have a local minimum of entropy as long as the net entropy of the universe goes up. So the sun could have, we could take energy from the sun because we're an open system. We're not an isolated system. And the entropy can go down the earth, but the entropy of the sun is going to go up. So as long as there's conservation there's nothing being violated by evolution. Now, Max, he studied actual physics too. What do you think about that? I mean, does that make sense? Is that a good explanation? Or
so many smart people in this community.
That's all there is to it. I mean, the law pertains to closed system. It talks about the increase in entropy in a closed system. So as soon as you start talking about open systems, you're not talking about the second law of thermodynamics. It's like you're not even talking about anything that pertains to actual physics. Usually the way I ask this is like, okay, well, how does the refrigerator work? Because clearly there's entropy decrease in your refrigerator when things freeze or get cold. What's happening? Well, obviously the energy is being dispersed into the atmosphere around you, not a closed system. Duh. It's really not that hard.
Exactly. Yeah, exactly, dude.
So,
and they always go ahead.
Well, no, we just this may seem a stupid question, but does that explain why food gets cold? Because the heat is, leaving the food and going in the air. Well, I mean, I know it may seem like a stupid question, but
you have a thermal transfer, right?
Right.
So if you have, go ahead, Max.
Yeah, no, that's all there is to that too. Like you're just, I forget exactly which I guess is the third law of thermodynamics that systems will try to reach thermodynamic equilibrium. So if something's hotter in surroundings, it dissipates into that. And yeah, it does increase in entropy in that case, but I mean it doesn't have to because it's not a closed system. So if you have a really cold room, then your food will get colder. So it's related.
Food seems to get colder even at room temperature, which I think is like 70 degrees.
Well, no, but that's because of specific heat, though, because food has usually got a lot of water in it. So, like, when you take a bite of food, even if it's the same temperature as the surrounding air, the air doesn't take the heat away from your body as quickly as something like a hot dog does, because a hot dog is mostly water, and water conducts heat faster. So the water is just conducting the heat away from your body towards the temperature of the room that you're in faster than the air is. That's why it feels colder, but it's not actually colder. If you put a thermometer in it, you'll find that it's the same temperature as the air around you.
And by the way, the third law deals with actually the entropy as it approaches absolute zero. But I know what you're saying. In thermodynamics, heat is defined as the flow of energy from a region of higher concentration to a region of lower concentration. Heat actually has to be in motion. You cannot store heat. And this is one of those instances where the colloquial meaning of the word heat, like I say, oh, you know what, this room really stores heat. That's a misnomer in physics. There's no such thing. You cannot store heat. You can store thermal energy, but you cannot store heat.
Yeah, language. Okay, look, what? Sorry. What I've noticed, is that the language that we use is limited. You know what I mean? We can try to explain ourselves as best as possible, but because we're using language, we're bound to be misunderstood. You know what I mean? Like as you said, this room stores heat, but as you said, that's not true. Because there is no heat in. You know what I mean? I don't know. I'm
exactly, excuse me. You're exactly right. But to bring it back to evolution, one of the things they'll say, well, the second law applies to all systems. Well, that's not really the case. What they're trying to say is that entropy applies to all systems, and that's true. Entropy, anytime you have work being done, there's going to be entropy involved. Entropy is literally defined basically as the unused energy of a system. Okay?
Yeah,
it's the energy you can't actually extract anything from to do any usable work.
Yeah, one thing that I think we can all appreciate is that these laws have been proven again and again. There's
well, they're not
no
proven.
way.
Don't say that. Don't say that.
Okay, fair enough. It's not.
Yeah, laws are never proven, right? Laws are just something we observe, and we think the universe corresponds to that, right? There could be violations to these laws, and it's going to suck, but the entire framework's not going to be, I don't think, destroyed because it's certain things.
Okay, I should say so far.
But at certain things where you have very high pressures and temperatures, like what's called the Planck scale, we don't know what the hell these laws do. We don't even know if they hold.
Yeah. Well, the word proof means something different to the people who go around spouting it than to scientists. So proof in science is based on induction, and there's always the whole thing of like, I can find one white crow and reject the whole theory that all crows are black. And it seems like a lot of people who ask for proof of science, or they think that laws are proven in the mathematical sense, and they're always proven in the inductive sense of just that we haven't found an exception, and they make unique falsifiable predictions, and that's kind of the best we can do.
You're
exactly right. That's a good way of putting it.
I wasn't trying to go into scientism. Yeah, I wasn't trying to go into scientism. So I'm just saying that.
Well, that's not scientism, but yeah, I get you.
Not questioning. Never mind. Move on.
No, you're right. Well, it's kind of like, I think it was what's his name? Oh my goodness, I don't remember who posted it, but and I've seen some of these lectures before, but somebody had posted something on Richard Feynman, and Richard Feynman was explaining the scientific method and doing his brilliant job that he usually does, right, or did, and. He was basically explaining the exact same thing. Look, you find one. He didn't put it this way, but he basically find one white crow, and boom, the whole theory's kind of gone, right? So he's saying that when you have a hypothesis, you're constantly looking for something that falsifies it, something that disproves it, right? And you just all you're doing basically. You don't really go out seeking evidence for it. You're seeking evidence against it.
Yeah, that's what you do.
Yeah, Vsauce did a really good video on that. I don't know if any of you guys saw it, where he went around asking people, like, what's the pattern? And he was like, 2, 4, 6, 8. Even numbers? No. And then, they give out various patterns, 3, 9, 27. Oh, are they squares? No. And people couldn't get it until they started asking, because they kept asking more things that they thought conformed to their pattern. But it wasn't until people started asking about sequences that didn't conform to the pattern that he was suggesting that they started to get the right answer, which was just that all of his sequences were increasing sequences. And that sort of illustrates how looking for the exception really tells you the rule.
Oh, that's a good. Yeah, that'd be. That's kind of interesting. Yeah, I guess if you gave every one of this, no matter what the sequence is, but if every one of them happened to be increasing sequences, that's a pattern right there.
Yeah, but he gave a bunch of examples where they were increasing by doubling or by squaring or something like that, and so people tried to find other examples of sequences that were like that, trying to guess the rule. They're like, oh, so it doubles, and he's like, well, no, that's not the rule. And the reason that they kept getting it wrong for so long is because they were like, okay, I'm going to find more sequences that fit the pattern to help me understand the pattern. Whereas best way to do it is to find the sequences that don't fit the pattern to understand the pattern.
But as soon as they find a sequence that don't fit the pattern, the rule is nullified, right?
Right. Well,
There's no longer a rule.
It starts to get them to think away from their limited perspective of what the pattern is really more, I think, what it is.
Right. Hey, Immutable Destiny, you want to chime in real quick? ID?
Well, no, not much. What's going on?
What a crappy abbreviations, by the way, dude. ID.
I know. Reminds me of Edgar.
Oh, God. I heard Edgar might be debating Hovind. I don't know
You
if
can't be
that's true.
serious.
I've talked to his secretary about it, but I haven't really got any feedback on it. But whatever.
Hey, Max, well, go ahead. I'm sorry.
Physics gets really interesting, especially when you start talking about work and like how eventually when you put too much work into a system or keep adding work, eventually you kind of have an asymptotic behavior because like if you're talking about velocity of particles, they can only reach a certain speed. Like the more work you put in, like they can only approach the speed of light. They can't go past it or can't equal
Well,
it.
that's an asymptotic behavior to C, right?
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, and that's based upon the Lorentz contraction formula or the time dilation factor, which is not a difficult thing. We could actually do over that one day.
Yeah, it's a pretty straightforward thing. It's nothing like general relativity. Special, I think, can be covered in one of these.
Yeah.
Yeah, General Hansolo wants to do a presentation, I think, on general relativity, or at least tensor calculus, which I'm going to find interesting.
I think I could sure use a refresher, let me tell you.
I never really understood GRs, the mathematics behind GR. I'm not going to lie. That's some difficult stuff. I could break it down to where I can say, okay, look, I know this is the cosmological constant component. I know this is kinetic. I know this is potential. And if I really probably wanted to break it down further, I could, but I never really looked into it that deeply to say, okay, this is what each term does. And I would like to actually have somebody present it that way.
Yeah, I never got past some of the most basics on the tensor calculus involved with general relativity. To be honest with you, that's about right where I had to cut out. So you know, I'm kind of more versed and pretty maybe overly versed up through differential equations because I've been teaching that for the past 10 years. But you know, I've certainly been meaning to brush up on the more advanced stuff like group theory and
Now, Max, you know, have you? I used to on the, you know, on not the live chat, you know, just the chat on the side. Can you see the on the side, or are you on a phone?
No, I see it.
Hey, Max, are you in my circles?
I think
Right.
so.
All right. Never mind. Just forget about those questions.
I mean, you're in the GDC, right?
Right. Yeah.
Okay, so I'll have to find you from there, and that way when we run these math hangouts, we can invite you and some other people directly.
You know, I figured, you know, since I have you on here and you know physics, figured I'd ask, but we'll just do it another time.
Yeah, I'm not going to claim to be an expert. I've heard you guys have much more well-versed physicists than I am on here. You know, Casey would run laps.
Well, yeah, definitely.
I'm willing to put it that way, you know.
Yeah, I got, dude, we're all lay purple people, right? I mean, like lay purple. See, I'm telling you, I'm not fucking doing well. We're all lay purple, right? I mean, there are people with degrees in specific fields, right? But most of us at least have had some education of this level. It's not super high, but it's enough to say, okay, you know, we got a basic understanding of this stuff.
I mean, did you watch me in the beginning? Sorry, go ahead. Well, no, I was just going to say, did you watch me in the beginning?
No, I only came on 20 minutes in, sorry.
Oh, nothing, just fine. Anyways, go ahead, immutable.
Well,
Immutable.
I mean, I've taken physics, like the maximum physics I know is up to physics 2, so I understand the basics of it, but I don't think, well, I could be wrong, definitely.
That would probably be the equivalent where I was at. I mean, I guess as far as nuke school, you know, it's about 300 level stuff. Maybe one course was like 400, but the rest was basically 300 level stuff.
And I guess with that kind of understanding, you could approach things like general relativity and special relativity if your understanding of it's good enough and you have a good enough math background.
Red's rhetoric is in the chat. Actually, invite him on.
I don't see Reds. I see Vincent, but I was going to shout to Vincent. Vincent, we're glad you didn't like blow away. I see. Oh,
Yeah,
I see Reds. I'm sorry. One hurricane plus Vince equals totally fucked. Yeah, well, yeah. Okay. Reds is working. But nice of you to join us, Reds. I wish Reds would come by these math hangouts. We could actually use his input on certain things. So, but a lot of people have been liking these math hangouts. I have, but I wish somebody else would do a presentation so I could sit back and learn something from it.
Yeah, it's part of it is what's irritating is that some of the more advanced math it involves both trigonometry and PreCalc. And calculus isn't hard when you understand like trig and PreCalc, but it's understanding the concepts that kind of becomes the difficult aspect of learning how to think about things, how to solve, how to solve equations.
Sorry, I wasn't laughing at you. I'm just laughing. You know what? We'll do this off air. I just came across a funny ass post from somebody. Sorry, Immutable. Go ahead.
Yeah, I think it is. I think a lot of PreCalc is just it's teaching you how to think about, how do I solve a quadratic equation.
I think PreCalc is tough, to be honest with you. I don't like PreCalc that much. I think some of it's a little more difficult than some calc stuff. It's not, well, I'm not saying difficult. It's not hard. It's not like it's high level, but it's tedious.
Limits can actually be really interesting, and I think that's kind of the most important thing you're going to get out of PreCalc. And limits, they actually can be quite interesting, although not the ones that you're going to see in high school or whatever.
Did you listen to the presentation I did on limits?
No, I'm afraid I didn't. This is my first time. Actually, this is the first math hangout I joined. I saw a couple pop up. But.
Yeah, I did. We did one on first principles, and we did one a little bit on limits. I screwed up the epsilon delta thing royally.
I
don't feel bad about that. I have math friends that still kind of mess it up too. So, yeah. And even they say, don't ever worry about it. And so if people want to learn about the epsilon delta, they're more than welcome to, obviously, but I am not the go-to person for that. I guess it sucks.
It's a bridge to real analysis. So people who work with real analysis care about that kind of thing. But even other mathematicians that I've known have not, that are not into real analysis, that work in cryptology or algebraic geometry or whatever, don't know that kind of stuff.
And that's exactly what it is. Real analysis, you got to learn that. You also learn things like Cauchy sequences and Dedekind cuts and all that. It's not my cup of tea. I don't really find real analysis that interesting.
Yeah,
real analysis. The thing real analysis is useful for is it prepares you for complex analysis where you're solving integrals you can't normally solve, like integral 1 over 1 plus x to the fourth.
So what about so you have real analysis, obviously you have complex analysis. How about, I wonder if there's like surreal analysis or hyperreal analysis or
numbers.
I don't like how at least when I learned calculus and like PreCalc, they called them imaginary numbers, which I don't like. They're not imaginary. They're very real numbers, but they're complex. And we didn't really go too much into things like what complex numbers actually do, how they can be useful.
But hold on, aren't they called the imaginary because of the I?
Well, no, I is because they call it imaginary. That's the
They're called imaginary because
kind of a misnomer a little bit, but
they're called imaginary.
It's imaginary because they don't exist on the real plane, right? They don't exist in the real number line, I should say. Or the
on the real they don't exist.
Itself is negative is the deal. But I think it was either Gauss or Riemann who said that the name actually should be called lateral numbers because really it's a lateral extension of the number line, the real number.
Yeah, it's literally a lateral extension off the x-axis, which is the number.
Yeah.
Right.
I've always wondered why they called them imaginary. As I was growing up, I'm like, why the hell do they call them imaginary numbers?
Imagine this. Think about it in your head here. Midnight. Think of your regular XY axis thing. Okay, you've got that in your head.
Yes.
Okay. Now imagine, pick anywhere. Just say go over 1 on the x-axis and just draw a little vertical line coming up from that. That's 90 degrees orthogonal to the x-axis. Okay.
Yeah,
so just draw it up to 1. So just basically go over to 1, 1. Okay. And there's a little line coming up the x-axis. Can you see that in your head?
Yes, there's x. So it will be x. So it will be 1, 0, or is it
1, 1.
right?
1, 1.
Or 1, 1. Okay, 1,
So
1.
1, 1. Think of 1, 1. So I have a line going from the x-axis from 1 up to 1 on the y. So can you picture that in your head?
Yes.
Okay. Now, imagine this would be like a little transformation, but imagine that whole Cartesian thing turning and facing you. So you're now looking straight on to the x and y axis and the line itself. Okay. So the line and the line and the y axis are basically in line with each other from your field of view. Now, if you rotate that line that you have in a direction like to the right or to the left, away from the x-axis, right? That is the imaginary plane. Did people kind of follow that?
Yeah, I mean, you don't even know the x and the y to start off, just the x, right? And then the y is the imaginary plane. That's another way to say it.
Well, yeah, I mean, it's 0 I guess, right? But
Yeah, exactly.
yeah.
I mean, that's
Sure, but I mean, but the rotation of it, that's the important part. The rotation off the x-axis in a way that can't be described on the just x and y Cartesian system.
Isn't it,
Now, polar you can, right? That's one of the reasons people use polar, right? Because
yeah, that's why Middleborough was asking whether there's an imaginary coordinate system in the polar coordinate.
that's what it's for. That's really, yeah, because the polar coordinates, you're not limited on that x and y axis. You can go off of that x-axis, so you can have a vector going off in some direction, and all you need is an angle and a magnitude, and you can tell what point you're at.
That's what that's what Euler's formula is. It's like e to the r theta, right? I e to the r theta. So like that r is your radius and the theta is the angle, and you can represent that on an imaginary plane with the cosine of theta being the real part, which is however far like the x-axis, and then I sine theta is the vertical part. So there's representations.
Yeah. If you know r and you know theta, you can convert that into a polar coordinate.
Yeah, well,
Right.
I mean, you told me not to go into it, but I was gonna say how you would get r, which is the radius, which the polar coordinates that the x and y are replaced by r and r and theta. I think theta is the square root of x squared plus y squared.
Do we know John? Is this person we know? Hi, John. I don't recognize the name.
R is the square root of x squared plus y.
Excuse me. So what's that, John? Hello. I don't recognize the name. Okay. Can he?
I don't know. I mean, I suppose it.
Well,
I don't know, Steve. It's up to you.
Well, I'll make sure that he's a real person. Are you sure? You're not like a bot? No, you got a page. You look legit.
I'm getting that uncanny valley thing. I don't know, man.
No, that's fine. No, you're legit, man. We got you covered, man. Come join us. It's all for one for all, right?
Yep. But Max, what did you say before?
I don't know. I was saying that x squared, the square root of x squared plus y squared is r squared if you're going for polar Cartesian.
Yeah, well, that's why. Wait, hold on. I have a book right here, which, it's depending on the context, could be taken wrongly. Let's see. Where are polar coordinates? Let's see.
Oh, there's George in the live chat.
Here we go.
George,
6.3. 664.
Yeah, okay. George has a correction, and he's right. Steve, there is no imaginary plane. There's an imaginary and real axis that comes from the complex plane. Okay, you're right. I should have said that forms a complex plane. It's not the imaginary plane. It's the complex plane, right, George? And I haven't forgotten to watch your video yet. I'm going to. I haven't had a chance. It's 50 minutes long, and I haven't had time.
50 minutes. What did he talk about?
He was doing transformations. He was doing was it Fourier transformation you were doing, George? Or was it Laplace transformation? I don't remember.
Oh, Fourier and Laplace transformations? Those are fun.
Yeah, he was doing transforms, but I can't I can picture the transform in my head, and I know the equation. I just can't remember which one it was. I don't know.
Well, they're very
There's like a
they're very
formula.
similar to each other, and they're very useful.
Yeah,
So,
Laplace.
yeah.
These are Laplace transformations. That's right. I can actually now. I mean, I literally see the integral in my head. It's like integral e to the negative t something or other. I haven't done a Laplace in years because the only reason I ever even did was actually due to a video that I never learned Laplace in school. To be honest with you.
Oh, really?
No,
We learned.
Laplace. At least I don't remember it. Maybe it's possible. I know we learned about Fourier transformations, but I don't remember doing Laplace.
I can show you it later, but when we learned the Laplace transform in ODE, ordinary differential equations, the way they describe the Fourier transform is that the Fourier transform is like the Laplace transform very much, but it's an extended domain. It extends the domain of the Laplace transform to minus infinity to infinity.
I thought it converts the domain. I thought the Fourier converts from the time domain to the frequency domain. Or the other way around, one or the other.
They both convert
I have
things.
To really review, dude. I mean, I have not looked at that in a very long time.
Both the domain of the normal performance function before it's transformed is a normal domain. It's a time domain. But when they're transformed, it becomes that of a complex frequency domain.
Okay, so it converts from the time to the complex frequency domain.
Right, and then
when it's solved, put the link in the live chat. Come on in.
Yeah, and then when it's solved, it takes it from the complex frequency domain and transfers it back to the time domain again.
Okay. And George, you got to give me an easy way to actually pronounce your last name, because obviously I suck at pronouncing things. So.
Well.
But yeah, the Laplace and Fourier transforms are both good examples of integral transformations.
Yeah, like I said, he had what looked like a really interesting video on it. I just haven't had 50 minutes to sit down and watch it. So, but George has some really good videos, so go check out his channel.
So, Steve. All right. So to convert x to polar coordinates into r times cosine, y is r times sine, and angle is obviously in radians. To get the radius, you would do x squared plus y squared equals r squared, which would actually equal r. R equals the square root of. You get the point.
Yeah, no, I know how to convert. Or at least I have in the past. I've had to do that, obviously. George, how are you, my friend?
I'm doing fine. Why are you trying to do mathematics without having visual aids?
I did have the visual aids.
Well, yeah, we did before.
Oh. Okay.
Yeah, we got done with that part of the hangout.
Hard to talk about it without any graph.
No, you got here late. We already been there, done that. We
okay.
actually moved on to other things that had nothing to do with the actual hangout, kind of. But
well,
that's the way it goes at the GDC, right?
Yeah, I have a few minutes. The short version on what that video was on Laplace transforms is on a previous video. I had showed how to integrate e to the minus st squared from 0 to infinity, where you get the.
I watched that. That was crazy, dude.
Yeah, where you get the square root.
Yeah, that was a crazy video. I did watch that one of yours.
Yeah, well, what I did with Laplace transforms is show how to use some of the properties of Laplace transforms, particularly what's called the final value theorem, to evaluate that integral without having to go through converting it into a multivariable integral and doing all these coordinates.
That's not an easy integration, is it?
No,
e to the I st squared or whatever. Not an easy one. Now, if you remove the square, I think that I was watching a video and I was kind of following along and trying different things. If you remove that square, it's not as difficult.
Oh, it's trivial. Yeah, without the square, e to the minus t is just
right.
E to the minus t with a minus sign. Any integral of e to the x with respect to x is just e to the x.
Right. It's a trivial thing. I mean, yeah. So I mean, that's why I was like, okay, this can't be that complicated just by adding a t squared. Oh my god,
it's a huge deal. Oh yeah, it's huge.
I would never.
And the reason why people are interested in that particular integral is it shows up in statistics and distributions and having problems having to do with heat transfer and the diffusion theory. It shows up a lot.
If I recall right, and by the integral transform definition, if you're taking the transformation of e to the minus st squared, at that point, aren't you just integrating an exponential quadratic?
Wait, e to the minus st squared?
Yeah, you know how e to the negative. You said you were taking the Laplace transform.
Well,
of e to
Laplace
the
transform, it's not a t squared. It's e to the minus st to the first power.
Right, and it's
that's
e to the
what's
minus,
called its weighting function. That's to ensure that the integral is what we call of exponential order, forces convergence of the integral.
right. But the function of time that you were integrating it with was the
Oh yeah. Well, what you do is
distribution
you
function,
have
right?
yes, you have e to the minus st times e to the minus t squared with respect to t, and you integrate t out. And because you have the product of two exponentials, you can combine their exponents, and then you end up with t squared minus st, and then you complete the square to get a perfect square in the exponential. And then by just doing a change of variable, you can show that that integral is nothing more than the complementary error function.
Yeah, I thought
He
that's
makes
what
it
you
sound so simple.
I thought that would be how you would do it, because I was thinking, yeah, if you have two exponential functions that are interacting with each other, that doesn't become too hard. But yeah,
Oh,
Yeah, well, you still end up with an integral that you cannot solve with elementary functions. You cannot express it in terms of elementary functions. As it turns out that the Laplace transform of e to the minus t squared is the complementary error function in s over 2. And then, so you really don't gain a whole lot if you have to do it by scratch. But, you know, anyone working with Laplace or Fourier transforms, you'll have a book of table of transforms, so you can look up what the transform is without having to go through the procedure of trying to, you know, derive it from scratch.
Real quick, John asked, I couldn't hear myself when I played back the stream. The reason for that, I hadn't shown you initially when we were talking to you, because I had to verify you. After I showed you in the broadcast, then anything you would have said would have been on the stream, but you didn't say anything. But you're welcome to come back in, but that's the reason why you didn't hear yourself. You weren't being broadcast, which means the outside chat can't hear you. So they probably wondering who the hell we were talking to. You know, but as far as you were saying, yeah, you know, I remember stuff about the error function, but not to any great degree, right? But I found it interesting because you were talking about the error function, and when I was playing around with that with Wolfram Alpha, it was a very interesting thing. I remember again vaguely that it existed, but I had no idea how to use it or what it'd be used for. I had a little bit more understanding of something like the gamma function. I knew how to work with the gamma function.
Right. Yeah, well, like I say, the error function shows up in probability and statistics, and it's closely tied to Gaussian distributions.
a quick question: when it's taught in ordinary differential equations, the Laplace transform, the e to the minus st, they sometimes will mention that it is sometimes easier to integrate it, to complexify it, to let s be a complex number. Are there situations?
Well, s is a complex number.
Right, but
It's
usually you
sigma
treat
plus j omega, generally.
Yeah.
Electrical engineers think of it in terms of the real part is sigma and the imaginary part is omega.
J-omega.
So you got so in Laplace, where you know, mathematicians talk about the Laplace transform purely in terms of a mathematical operation, a construct. But electrical engineers find it very useful. In the S, we call it the frequency domain, complex frequency domain, because S has not only an imaginary part, it has a real part. It's sigma plus j omega. Now, if you make sigma go to 0, so you just have S is equal to j omega, then your Laplace transform becomes closely tied to the Fourier transform. Fourier transform is essentially a Laplace transform with S equal to j omega, and that puts you into AC analysis in electrical circuits. Is you solve electrical circuits, and if you want to find the AC response, steady state AC response, where you're driving the network with a sine or a cosine of some frequency omega, then if you substitute in your network S equals j omega, then you get amplitude and phase shift information, and you can solve for the response of a network directly without having to write any differential equations.
See, I remember doing some of that stuff, the circuit analysis, but I don't remember ever using J for it at all. I mean, I know engineers use J. But
mathematicians use I. I'm sorry, mathematicians
I
use
remember
I, and engineers, electrical engineers use J.
Yeah, see, we weren't. When we had to take the stuff. There are electrical people that actually learn it a little bit differently, but I don't think they use J. But yeah, I remember doing circuit analysis, and that's the only time I ever used some of that stuff.
Yeah, well, I'll be doing some videos.
John says, thanks for letting me on, Steve. He had a $2 Australian, I think, super chat. Thank you, sir. That's very nice of you. That's the first super chat I've had on this channel, so that's like it's been diversionized for the super chat. But thank you, John. And by the way, welcome back in. I mean, I already verified you're legit. So yeah, come on in and join us. You're more than welcome to.
You may find my. I'm working on a video right now, Steve, that you might find of interest. Is my part 2 of the Laplace transform. I'm going to be solving a third order differential equation with initial conditions and a forcing function. In general, and it's going to involve an awful lot of algebra. And I found that to keep it at a reasonable length, I'm going to first do a preliminary video where I derive some results that I'll need to use in the Laplace transform solution of this third order differential equation. And what I'm going to do is show how you can derive most of your, well, in fact, all of your trig identities with complex variables, and do it very efficiently and very quickly. And I'll be deriving probably all trig identities that you can think of using showing methods with complex variables. And I hope to have that posted and then by Monday, maybe even later tonight.
I won't understand it, but I'll check it out.
You'll understand. You don't need calculus for this next video. It's purely an algebraic exercise manipulating complex numbers.
Okay. Full asked a good question, though. He says, question of the day for me. What in the world can I use this calculus for, and really is it needed at all?
All the time. There hardly, in my last 40 years of electrical engineering, I could say of all my waking days, I've probably out of 80% of the days have used calculus.
Well, but I mean, what about the average Joe Schmuckatelli, right? I mean, I don't use calculus in my daily thing for when I got out.
Well, no, most people don't. But I mean, if you're going to be in the area of designing new test equipment and electrical products, whenever you're engaged in signal analysis, you're going to be dealing with Fourier transforms, fast Fourier transforms, and
I remember fast Fourier transforms. John says, I remember doing Laplace transformations in college when studying electronics. All I remember is that they were really hard. Yes,
George. I know. I know the average Joe has no use for it, but I still think people should learn calculus. Even if they don't become electrical engineers, or I don't know.
I agree with you. It really broadens your horizons and gives you good perspective on the world. For example, in the great excuse me, great debate community, I posted a little analysis of throwing a ball in the air. And if you throw a ball, say, with a certain initial velocity at an angle with respect to the horizon, by simple integration, two integrations on Newton's second law, that force is equal to the time derivative momentum with time, you can solve these very basic problems of motion, you know, trajectory of a ball. Show how far it goes, how high up in the air it will, how long it will take to hit the ground, and all that. With
that would be a fun hangout. I could do kinematics. Kinematics. So I could probably do a simple presentation on, you know, parabolic trajectories, which are most of them. It's really.
Just follow the outline, Steve. Just follow the outline of that little analysis that I did, and I think you do just fine with it.
I don't want to rip off your stuff.
I don't. I put it out there. It's public domain, you know.
And correct me if I'm.
Well, hang on a minute. I do watch your stuff, George. So I mean, I was aware of your videos. So don't think that they're going underappreciated. They definitely are appreciated.
Yeah, but like I say, anything I put out there, I consider public domain. It's not copyright. I want people to learn. You know.
So do I. But George, you know, doesn't hold on. You know, when you throw a ball, doesn't it form a parabola? Or a negative parabola, but
it's technically, and I don't know. Hopefully George agrees with me. It's technically an ellipse.
Yes.
Oh, thank God. Thank God. Yeah. Okay.
But the thing is, for small distances, you know, on the order of miles or less, the lines of force are directed downward and essentially parallel. In that case, if the lines of force are parallel to one another, you get a parabolic trajectory. But if they're directed inwards towards the center of the Earth, there's a slight deviation from parallel on your lines of gravitational force, and you end up with what's called a central force problem. And the description is an ellipse, but the deviation from a parabola from the ellipse is so minor. I mean, you can go through the numbers, and it's on the order of tenths of a part per million.
Yeah, no, I totally agree with you 1,000%. The only reason that's true, but the only reason I still consider it's still an ellipse is because if you really draw it out, there's still going to be two foci.
Yeah, but the foci are going to be so far separated.
I know it's totally a technical thing, right?
Yeah, it's a technical thing. Yeah. Like you know, I always thought, I never considered a parabola an ellipse. I mean, that makes sense now that I think about it.
Parabola is not an ellipse. It's just the equations of motion are the same. Obviously, like it's the same equations of motion.
Right.
Orbiting.
Well, yeah, I misspoke. It's not. I misspoke.
They're all conic sections, you know, parabolas, ellipses,
right.
circles, and hyperbolas.
It's not.
They can all approximate one another over small line segments, short line segments. They can approximate one another.
Yeah, it's not that the ellipse and the parabola are the same thing. They're clearly not. But the formulas for a parabolic trajectory it's real simple to use, right? And they're so, like he said, the deviation between the two is not worth even messing with because
you can't. You'll never measure it.
It's completely ridiculous to try to like separate. If I use the equations for either one, it's going to work. Might as well stick with the easy stuff because it's so much almost an exact approximation.
Yeah, but it comes down to a practical issue of deviation from exact predictions and ability to measure it. I mean, you're never going to measure the deviation for any distances that you shoot an object out in free flight on the order of, say, less than 10 miles. You're just not going to see any measurable deviation from a parabola.
I mean, they probably have to take into account when do an ICBM, but for range missiles,
if you're going thousands of miles, you have to use the more exact equations where you're dealing with two foci of an ellipse. And
Lamed says this, and it's pretty funny. I didn't want to really talk about the CCP that much because this is a math hangout, but it is funny. And Lamed says, algebra and everyday life. Algebra and everyday life. You have one G-man, a non-dog, with one blowhorn. Is it blowhorn or bullhorn? And you explain biology to him for 3.5 minutes. How many interruptions will he throw at you?
Oh, I need to laugh more.
That's algebra. That's algebra.
That's proof by induction.
That's proof by induction. That's a real life example right there, man. Oh God. But hey, George, you like, so I mean, I know you do a lot of your flat Earth stuff, and I know you're over in Earth discussions too, which it's gotta be boring after a while just talking about flat Earth. So,
well, I don't
that you like this kind of stuff.
I let the other guys talk about flat Earth. I go on to ED and talk about other subjects from time to time. But I don't discuss flat Earth. I discuss flat Earth in comment sections to videos and try to correct misconceptions and that.
Well, I'd like you to hear more. I mean, you have a lot to add to the math hangouts, obviously.
Curiosity. Just one last question.
Go ahead.
Just one last thing about the Laplace transform. I forget. You know what an Euler differential equation is, right?
Yeah.
Can you take the Laplace transform of Euler differential equations? Or I forget if that's possible.
You can take Laplace transforms of any type of equations, nonlinear equations, but you might end up with something in the transform space that you can't deal with.
And then you reach
falls apart.
Yeah. You can't. You might not be able to get back into the time domain, back to the original space, because the function of S is in the complex frequency domain is so bizarre and hard to handle. Well, correction, you can always do an inverse transform by doing what's called a contour integral and using Cauchy residue theory to get a series representation of the function. The inversion integral for Laplace transform always gives you a infinite series or a terminated series representation. Now, you might be able to sum the series. You might be able to recognize it in terms of elementary functions. But when you're dealing with nonlinear equations and things like that, the series probably isn't going to be recognizable, and you'll end up having some hypergeometric representation, and you end up having to solve the damn thing numerically anyway. You know.
That's why they created Wolfram Alpha. Yeah,
I mean, most real world problems don't lend themselves to nice, easy solutions, and numerical analysis is the way that you tackle a lot of these problems. In fact, the state-of-the-art way to solve a lot of coupled differential equations and real-world problems now is what's called finite element analysis.
I'm not familiar with it.
But I mean, for a lot of problems, so I mean, in electrical engineering, electrical network theory, combinations of inductors, capacitors, resistors, and that Laplace techniques work very well because most of the equations are linear. You're dealing with linear circuit elements in electronics, and you can closely model a lot of nonlinear type behavior by adding in linear parasitics to approximate it. And so you still have linear networks to deal with. The whole key in any problem is trying to express it in terms of a linear model so that superposition holds, and you can handle the problem using Laplace transform or Fourier techniques is they really work well on linear differential equations, linear network.
I know. Okay, I know when it comes to the wave function, right? And you're talking about, for example, if you got a light wave, you have the electric component, you have the magnetic component. Of course, they're orthogonal to each other, and then as they move through free space, as they move through free space, you're gonna have a superposition from one point to the exact opposite point, right?
Yeah, space is linear, which is really nice because superposition holds. Yeah,
I don't know how. I mean, I know what you're referring to, but that's something that if you want to have an actual hangout on that, I would be fascinated by that. I know the concepts. Again, it's been a long time, but I really kind of enjoyed working with waves a little bit way back in the. I thought they were very fascinating, especially again when we took vector analysis. One of the things you learn about obviously with vector analysis is exactly that right there, right? Because you're changing the position of the wave function, from one domain to the other domain is moving here, and it's superposition from one side to the other side, and I just totally dumped all that stuff. Dumped. So
well, just let me know and I could prepare something on that. It is interesting. I mean, the fact that space is linear is really quite wonderful, because basically what superposition means is that if you drive or have multiple signals in a linear space, you can solve the problem by exciting just one signal at a time and make all the other signals be zero. Say, for example, if I have two signals, a signal A and a signal B, and they're going into a linear network or linear space, and I get an output that is going to be a function of the two signals, A and B. Well, I can have both signals turned on at the same time and solve the problem. It's fairly complex when you have multiple signals driving a linear network, but superposition guarantees that I don't have to do that. All I have to do is excite the linear network or the linear space with one signal at a time. So I take signal A, drive the linear network, calculate or determine the output due to signal A, then turn signal A off, turn on signal B, drive the network, find its response. Then the response to driving the network with both A and B on at the same time is the sum of the responses to each signal separately.
Yeah, I again vaguely remember doing things with the summation.
And that's a very important property, very, very important property of linear networks. In fact, superposition is another way of defining linearity.
I actually had a book on that somewhere, believe it or not. I had it was on discrete signal processing, and that was a huge portion of the discrete signal processing. So yeah, I actually have books, people. I did before I moved. So yeah. Whatever.
Hold on, correct me if I'm wrong, but isn't there a superposition in quantum mechanics also, or is that what you were talking about?
I'm not real big on quantum mechanics.
It's not well. It's kind of related, but superposition.
It's something else.
Yeah, superposition of physics is
okay. That's what I was wondering.
But John again makes a really good comment. He says, the reality is, without this complex math and engineers that we understand it, we wouldn't be doing what we're doing now. Computers, smartphones, etc. Exactly.
Yeah, well, that's what's so ironic and hilarious with the flat Earth community. Here they are, they're bitching about science. They call it scientism, and mathematics is mathemagicians and all this. Well, all the time they're using the technology that the wonderful science brought to us.
Yeah, that is ironic. It's just I sit here and think about that. Like you guys are using the technology that, well, you said it better, but I'm like, seriously?
Well, they're just self-posed anymore. I mean, a few people actually believe this shit, but I don't get into the flat Earth stuff that much because it's just such a waste of fucking time. These people are just retarded.
Well, it's not only just the flat Earthers; they're part of the conspirator crowd out there.
Oh, yeah.
You know, anything having to do with what they call the establishment they're against. You know, science is the tool of the devil.
Yeah, science is evil, and yet they definitely reap the benefits of it, right?
Yeah, they don't mind using their computer to get onto the internet to rally against science. You know?
I love science.
Hypocritical.
I mean, you know, also, they also use the computer to rally against you know what, never mind. I don't want to turn it into a political stream.
Hey, Max, when you get a chance, head down to Best Buy. Just pick up like a little headphone and a little like $5 condenser mic, because it sounds like you're kind of across the room, and it doesn't sound like you have headphones.
Yeah, well, I didn't anticipate this. Sorry.
Yeah, no, that's fine. No, I'm just invest $10 into it, and it'll be fine. I mean, or just a pair of headphones with a boom mic. They're like $12 or something. Yeah.
Well, the whole conspirator crowd is just so disingenuous, you know.
Oh
yeah.
God, yeah. I mean, but I'm glad we're getting new people in, like Max, and obviously George isn't new, but first time he's really dropped in to actually have a chat with us in the Math Hangouts. But I'm glad people are finding this particular channel and being interested in Math Hangouts, because I like the Math Hangouts, to be honest with you.
I came here for the Satan worship.
Well, we have that too, but that's on Sunday. You keep getting the days wrong.
Man, that's not
Saturday.
my fault. Okay.
Well, I mean, I told Steve I appreciated him, doing this. I don't know if he was gonna. I mean, I'm sure. I don't know if he was actually planning on doing it. Regardless of whether I wanted to, because actually, you know what? I should probably thank Barney. To thank Barney for this stream, because he's the one who posted about Euler's. I can't talk. Euler's formula, or
Euler's.
That and Euler's. Go ahead. You said.
Yeah, Euler's.
Yeah,
Euler's identity.
Like oiling your car.
My point is, shout out to Barney for posting the thing that he did that made this. They made this hangout possible. There.
Go Barney. I thought about doing a hangout on this particular topic at some point. It wasn't really, that important, I guess, or just wasn't something I had planned on to do real, soon. But since you wanted to do it, and I knew it was not something I'd invest, an actual math presentation like I've been doing and putting on the latex and all that kind of stuff. I was like, well, shit, I can just do this right off of Wikipedia. This doesn't really take that long. And you saw this. It's not hard to derive Euler's identity from Euler's formula. It's really not. You stick in pi, and there you go. Kind of go, okay, we'll cosine 0, and then sine I 0 minus 1. So, or 1 minus 1 minus 0.
Yeah, something you'll like. I was thinking maybe doing a short video on this is one of the significant. Well, Euler did so many significant things. We're still finding out things today that he did. I mean, the math that he produced is incredible. The amount, there's probably close to 900 books of what he has done in his lifetime. I mean, the man was just prolific, and but for about 300 years, people puzzled on the sum of 1 over n squared, where n goes from 1 to infinity, 1 over n squared. And nobody could get what it converged to. And Euler figured it out, and he did it a really clever way. And I have to do a video sometime to show you the method he used. I mean, it just blew my socks off when I discovered what he had did to sum that series.
There's shortcuts for summations like that, right? I mean, what is k n plus 1 over k factorial or something along those lines.
Now,
whatever.
George,
I don't remember the exact shortcut, but
well, there's no easy way to do 1 over n squared. There's no tricks you can use to convert it into a recognizable summable series. But like I said, Euler did some clever manipulations and leaps of faith, and it's just amazing.
So you just couldn't do a limit test on it?
No, it wouldn't work.
No, not to test if it's converged, to find what it sums to.
Oh, okay, okay.
Well, George,
And-
I mean,
Hold on.
go ahead.
Well,
Well, and if I'm not mistaken, part of the process with that, it gave birth to the Riemann zeta function, right? Isn't that one of the consequences of the method he used,
No,
or he
no,
developed?
no, has nothing to
No,
do
'cause
with the
that's the one with the
function.
exponent increase. The exponent is the variable, Riemann zeta function. Like, it's a function of, instead of everything being squared, it's like to the x, and that's your variable in the Riemann zeta function. So it's not really the same thing.
Can I ask something?
Yeah,
Go
go
ahead.
ahead.
Okay, George, George, was Euler, the Euler, hang on, they was Euler a combination of formal education and learning by himself, or like,
A
was
combination. A combination.
Yeah.
He studied under gosh, I'm trying to think. Was Bernoulli and a few others. But he was recognized early in his life as to being something special, and he was taken under the tutelage of some prominent mathematicians early in life and trained.
Yeah, thanks. I was just wondering.
Yeah, that's another hangout that I kind of want to do because we had mentioned stuff about 1 equals 0.99 repeating, right? And there was a few people in the DDC that just weren't really.
Yeah, they just didn't really get it.
And here's what I find the most interesting, and this is one of those more observations of social thing than anything else. Math is not one of those things that you really debate, right? I mean, I don't think anybody's going to say, hey, look, a pig, you want to have a debate 1 + 1 = 3? It's just not.
Yes.
It doesn't.
You might want to look. I don't know. But I'm not really.
Yeah,
gonna
well,
vote,
it's kind of
right?
like saying, the internal angles of a triangle sum to 180 degrees, pro or con.
Yeah, exactly.
Con.
Well, okay. Well, wait. Euclidean or non-Euclidean?
Yeah.
Louis.
But you get the point,
No,
right?
Kryptonian.
Yeah. What about Kryptonian math? But you get the point. There's no debate on this kind of stuff. Now, the way I'm looking at it, and maybe you guys can help me out with this. If I know that mathematics is such that it's not really a debatable topic, and I see that basically 99% of everybody is agreeing with this, including mathematicians, and I'm like the 1 or 2 people that go, oh, no, it's not true.
Argument as popular. I'm joking, obviously,
Well, I'm not advocating argumenting on popular.
Yeah, no, I know, but people would say that if you
They
say
don't know,
that,
right? they don't know. Argumenting on popular is that you're saying something is popular. You say something's true because it's popular, right? And that's not what I'm arguing. What I'm saying is that at some point, I think a rational person would say, okay, maybe I'm missing something here. I don't know that much about math. I need to go try to understand this rather than this sit there and say, oh, you're wrong.
or at least prove why 99% of, like, Jesus Christ, do the work, man. People love being competitions, love being proven wrong occasionally. Actually, not ever mind. I'm generalizing.
Well, yeah, but people are not really at a level to really do the math to prove mathematicians wrong. But people had mentioned in the live chat right now, they said like the H.T. Wicks. Well, the H.T. Wicks actually went and did a little, I give him props, he did a little research, wiki, and he said, you know what, yeah, this does make sense, and I was wrong. He actually said that. He actually said, I'm going to mea culpa, I was wrong, that he said. And I was like, oh my God, praise Jesus. Somebody could actually learn something. Again, this is math. It's not going to change because you don't like it in your worldview is that the arc existed and all that crap. It's not going to change, guys.
I don't know something, therefore, no, go ahead, sorry.
No, what I was going to say, the thing that...
Are we talking about flat earthers?
No.
Oh, okay.
The thing that goes on with mathematics and mathematical modeling is you find that there are many ways you can approach a problem. There's no generally right or wrong way to approach a problem. Some ways are more efficient in getting to the answer than others. But as long as you follow the rules, it doesn't matter which path you take. As long as you follow the rules, you will always come to the same answer, regardless of the path you take. In mathematics, it's very easy to show what we call the uniqueness theorem in many of the problems, is that there's one and only one answer. So it doesn't matter the path that you take. The path, as long as you follow the rules correctly and do your steps correctly without making mistakes, you will get to that unique answer.
Yeah, no, I agree with that. I agree with that. But my point was that again, at some point you got to say, look, there are experts on this. I don't understand it as well as they do. Let me try to see what my conceptual error is. And I did want to do a hangout on summations, limit of sequences, limit of convergence series. How do we check to see if something converges or diverges? Right? What means can we use to do that? Now, some of the means I know okay, and some of them I just don't remember. I would have to really kind of look up certain theorems to remember how to do them. I could, but I think that'd be kind of an interesting hangout because I think sequences are fun. I think they're kind of like cool. So,
oh yeah,
I'll be there with bells on.
There's very challenging sequences out there to determine whether or not they converge. And sometimes you have to come up with some clever techniques. Like, for example, if you want to determine whether or not the series n factorial over n raised to the n power converges, it's not an easy thing to do. There's some tricks you have to pull, and you will find that if you use the ratio test and use some of these tricks, that you will find that indeed by the ratio test it converges, but it's not immediately obvious that n factorial over n raised to the n power indeed converges.
Yeah, and I could probably do a video on the ratio test and the mean value theorem and the squeeze theorem and all these other different things, but I have to review them myself, and that's going to take a while. So, and by the way, a pirate of dark waters new to the Great Debate community. I know. Hey, pirates, have you joined the Great Debate community? I'm curious, but he left. I saw it, but I didn't respond because I was busy with other things. But he left a pretty interesting rap on one of the videos that I did like for G-Man. I wonder if can you actually rap, by the way, Pirates of Dark Water? I mean, or is that just you wrote it, but can you actually like throw it down? Kind of curious.
That was Pirates of Dark Water is actually a show, a cartoon from years ago, and it was pretty interesting. I mean, unless he picks that name for some other reason, but it reminded me of that.
Oh, excuse me. But no, Pirate said I sub and got the bell. But did you actually join the actual Great Debate community on G+? Or let me see if I can give him the link. Dun, dun, dun. We got a web page too.
Hello. Oh, good. Okay, never mind.
Let me give him the link real quickly. You guys.
Hello.
Hello.
Hey, Steve. I have ran into a problem I need to talk to you with about.
There's actually topical anti rash creams you can get for that now. Oh, sorry. Was there something else?
Yeah, I told you not to mention about that, man. That's private.
Yeah, well, it happens. You sweat and. But anyways, what's your question?
Okay, so I'm running Windows 8 or 10. They can go after the hangout. Don't worry.
No, go ahead. Whatever.
Okay, so the reason why I'm bringing this up live is due to the fact I can't figure it out. My microphone keeps adjusting itself to almost.
That happens with Google and Windows. I have that same damn problem occurring all the time.
Is it doing like an automatic auto gain control?
Yeah, I already have that completely disabled. It's whenever I'm in a hangout, my microphone will go from like 1, which I keep it because I have a amp that I have run everything through, to 99. And it will constantly do that, and it'll just get louder and louder, and then I blast everyone's eardrums.
Okay, this is what I found about that. For some reason, Google's and Windows, it does it almost like randomly, it seems, right? It's really weird. I don't know the cause of that. I've tried manually adjusting. I've changed things. It just likes to change shit. I don't really have an answer for you.
God damn it! I've been looking all over the internet. I figured one of you assholes would know.
I have the same problem. What I could recommend is try using what is it called? It's the mixing board shit. Come on, somebody help me out. I don't have it on Linux, although I know they make it for it. They make the banana version of it too. Anybody remember thinking of it? I can picture it in my head, but I can't remember the name. It's the mixing board you get that you can put for Windows. That no, it's not. It's not Plantronics Mixamp. It's a free program for Windows, and it's called. You know what? I'm gonna have to see if I
know what you're talking about. You might ask Corliss. He knows about that. He put me on.
I don't remember the name.
Yeah.
Voicemeter. Yeah, try downloading Voicemeter and see if that makes a difference, because you could just hopefully set it for whatever, and then you can adjust your audio levels right there on the board.
What are you using? Is this like a headset or something?
This is a condenser microphone running into a preamp and then running into a USB audio interface.
Yeah, and thank you, Opal. I just looked it up, by the way, and then I transferred back to the video, and Opal said in the live chat Voicemeter. So yeah, thank you.
Okay, I'll check it out.
Does this preamp you're using have automatic gain control?
No.
It's
just completely self dials.
Yeah.
Like no software, just all hardware.
If for some reason it wants to like do an audio.
Yeah, but I mean, you can have AGC, automatic gain control, in hardware. You don't need software for it. I was just wondering if your amplifier has some compression.
I've seen his mic. It doesn't have it in there, I don't think.
Okay.
I know a condenser mic he had because he had a hum on it before we were working on. You can also have you gotten rid of all your acoustic effects, like your loudness equal. Actually, I use loudness equalization. That's one thing that I think works really well. So I keep my loudness equalization on, but the rest of them should be all off.
I have no effects for my microphone. This is all running through.
Try loudness equalization and see if it makes a difference for you as far as quality. I think it does. I like it better.
All right.
You know. Yeah, Voicemeter is really good. I'm gonna have to find it for Voicemeter because I mean it's for Linux, because I am running this Linux system out of RAM, and I'm finding it to be pretty decent. So people in live chat are funny.
What you could do is check. Are you running like Windows 7 or something?
I think you said 8.
No, just Windows 10. My bad.
Oh, 10, I'm sorry.
Okay. Well, I don't know what Windows 10 is, but in maybe 10 has the same thing. You have the little speaker down on the right.
Yeah, I already went through all of that.
Okay, so you did a right click and went to
properties.
Well, go to recording devices.
Yeah,
do a right
then you
click
get to properties.
Yeah, and then look at things.
Advanced, I have exclusive mode, which allows applications to adjust your microphone level, all disabled. Auto gain controls disabled. I went to Skype. I disabled the microphone gain control there. I checked with Steam. I checked with every application I'm running, even OBS, and none of them have any gain control settings.
Quick question: are you running a 3.5 millimeter, or are you running USB?
3.5 millimeter.
You know, I found that USB works so much better. You might want to think about getting a little adapter and running it off USB, just like a 3.5.
Well, I have like 3 adapters, but where I have everything on one system with one 2.0 USB port, I have to an internet connection.
Are you on a laptop or?
I'm on a motherboard from a laptop, just laying on my desk.
So you're free floating. You're floating it, right?
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah, that's without having a USB splitter, obviously, that would present a problem. Yeah. Yeah, Linux.
Using
I'm sorry. Did I say Linux? Linux.
USB hub.
Yeah, Linux.
Well, it could be that your laptop motherboard just doesn't like that preamplifier.
No, there's no the amp, right? It's pretty much it's not doing anything that's special. It's not adding any extra voltage or anything like that.
Maybe you should just try plugging your mic direct into the 3.5 millimeter jack in your motherboard.
I need phantom power.
Oh yeah, well, I mean, you only need a phantom power if you're running an XLR.
I'm running an XLR.
Oh, okay, well, that's why.
Yep.
I'll tell you, I'm telling you that this is probably going to solve your problem. Find a way to convert that 3.5 to USB. XLR does not like, even with a phantom power supply, it does not like being run with a 3.5 millimeter. It sucks, dude. I got one. I mean, I got a boom mic, and I use it for my recording when I actually do my videos because it's a better quality mic. But if I use the 3.5, it's crap, dude. It did the same thing you were doing. It doesn't sound right. But when
it sounds like you're
into
doing
the USB,
overkill.
it's so much better.
Maybe just go and invest in a cheap little microphone with 3.5 millimeter. It sounds like you're kind of overkilling the thing, and it doesn't like it.
Yeah, try it with a USB adapter. I'm telling you, dude. I think it's going to solve your problem.
Okay.
So
spend $100 for a Scarlett Solo.
No, I mean, dude, it's a
little. You can get a nice little condenser.
So you're just talking about USB. You're talking about like a USB audio sound card.
No, I'm talking
no, just a microphone. Just get a
3.5 millimeter to USB adapter.
Okay.
I got mine off Amazon for like $2.50 or some shit.
Oh, all right.
Now, my first one broke, and then the second one I got a little more expensive one because the first one I got was so goddamn cheap. It just wasn't.
Where are you located? Are you in the U.S.?
I'm located in America.
Go to Newegg, Newegg. They have wonderful prices and really good products.
I mean,
all right, so
can I ask you why do you want to use this condenser mic so much? Can I ask why?
Why not?
Okay.
Well, I'm saying,
is it nice? I mean,
you might just invest in a cheaper mic. And
I've seen his mic. I mean, it's I don't know. It looks like a home improvement kit or do-yourself kit. Like
no, blue. Well, it's a blue microphone. They like hand make each microphone or some shit. It was a Blue Spark. It's like $120 microphone, but that I completely destroyed. So I bought a new one.
And you only have one USB port. Is that your problem?
Yeah.
And you're using that for the internet connection?
I'm using that for my internet connection, my keyboard and mouse, and every once in a while wireless headphones.
You have a USB to 2.811 adapter, right? You're using that for the Wi-Fi?
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
Because I have no Wi-Fi antennas. Like the Wi-Fi antenna is shorted out or some shit.
Okay. Oh, on your onboard?
Yeah.
Oh, okay. On your onboard, right? The little Wi-Fi thing. There's two things to go to it. There's a little black and a little white or red.
The antennas.
Yeah, one of them is in the antenna, right? And it has a little shitty connector. And if it's not on right, it doesn't get the signal, obviously.
Yeah, it's a shitty setup. This is why I grabbed a USB. I didn't like that.
I got you, man. That onboard is a piece of shit.
Yeah.
Yeah, gotcha.
Especially when it's exposed and you can bump it.
Makes sense. Yeah.
All right, I got voice meter. This should fix it.
Voice meter will help, but I'm telling you right here and now, you might have to invest in a USB splitter.
Okay,
right?
the USB fucking adapter you're talking about. That's the one pretty much where you plug it in, and then there's a 3.5 for a headset and a microphone.
Yeah, exactly. It combines both.
Okay, I have that, and it does the same thing.
Really?
Because I run it. Yeah, I take whenever I do my recordings, I'll take that out and I'll plug it directly in. I'll take my Wi-Fi out and I'll plug that in, because if my Remember when I would join in and then my mic will just start screeching?
Yeah. Oh, how could I forget?
That was from
I
just
still
the
think I got
USB.
a hole in my eardrum from it.
Exactly. That was due to the fact my USB 2.0 was just using so much bandwidth it didn't have anything.
Gotcha.
Maybe you consider a different system. I have some friends back in Colorado that pull equipment out of businesses and that, and probably get you a generation or two back laptop for a couple $100.
That's why I'm working on saving up for a brand new computer. I'm getting $500 rows together.
I mean, it doesn't sound bad now, though. So, I mean, you're running it halfway decently, right?
Yeah. That's why I now have two systems. I ran I had to cut open an Ethernet cord because I don't have a clamper. So I rewired the Ethernet port and I ran it into my computer with the help of Bullinator. And I got it set up so I can run internet through my other laptop, because what occurred with my other laptop was the hinge broke, snapping the Wi-Fi antenna.
Oh, yeah. I'll tell you from experience, once that goddamn antenna comes off, good luck.
Exactly. I found out
like
the best
connector. It's a really weird type of connector, and it's just crap.
Once you push down on it, start twisting it
you bend
around.
it, get it, you're done.
Yeah. Once you put it, like, push down on it, you have to spin it around for it to actually connect, because you have to line it up perfectly. By spinning it, it'll eventually pop in.
And it's a bad design.
I'd like to ask you a question. I have a feeling which might be wrong with your system. About how far away are you from your microphone when you're speaking?
I am about 6 inches away.
Go back a foot and speak in the same voice. I want to hear what happens.
Okay, here's about a foot away from the microphone.
Okay, go up to about 3 inches and speak.
This is about 3 inches away from the microphone.
Yeah, it sounds to me like you don't have any AGC going on in your system.
Yeah, that's the point. I don't want any AGC. That's the problem.
Why? You'll level your voice out, because this is why your voice is cutting in and out. AGC
is the problem I'm trying to fix. Because that gain control going up and down.
On right now. No, the AGC.
No, I do. It takes a moment as I speak for it to pop out. Yeah, like I have to speak for a solid 3 minutes.
Might work in some cases, and in other kinds it actually makes it worse.
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
Like I use AGC on mine. Like I have AGC set on mine right now, but that's because I'm using a headset with the boom mic. Now, when I use the actual boom, my main boom mic, I tend to turn it off.
Yeah.
So
what I need to do is have my microphone set to 1 gain, maybe 0, and then I can do everything through my preamp for the best audio quality.
Yeah. Let the preamp do most of the work. Yeah, don't set your gain through Windows.
Because right now the gain on Windows is 100%. It sounds like shit.
Yeah.
So I have my preamp set to
zip, and it just, I don't know.
Yeah, I have my preamp set so it's so low that it counteracts to it, because I have gain control through my preamp, and then I have my output control, so I can physically monitor my output. So instead of having it like at 1 decibel, I could do 2 or 3. Yeah,
you definitely have a noticeable change though in your audio level, right? I mean, I can hear it. It's not constant.
Yeah, what you want, you don't want your preamp. You don't want your preamp to be running at a very low level, because that's where you're going to start picking up a lot of distortion. Is if you're starting to be down too far. You want your preamp to be running at a moderate level, and then cut the gain back on the input at the computer.
Well, my preamp's running at a moderate level. I have it currently set to around plus 16 decibels. But I can manually adjust the output that preamp does.
Well, that's what I'm saying. You want the output going into the computer to be at a moderate level, and then cut the sensitivity input level back on the input on the computer end.
Well, this is where the problem is due to the fact my output is always going to 100. Like whenever I'm on my levels, and I set it to, let's say, 5. Once it's set to 5, it will constantly rise higher and higher.
Your voice is gone.
Out off the map.
That's where I set it to 5, and I was going to hook it up, but it just slowly rises. Like the microphone level will automatically slowly rise. And if I didn't have this microphone problem, I could set my my output to a decent setting, but I can't right now due to the fact it slowly rises.
Okay.
Yeah, try voice meter, see if it equalizes at all.
Yeah, that's why I'm doing it right now. I just installed it, and I'm trying to figure out how to.
Guys, I have to run, and
yeah, thank you, Jordan.
We'll chat with you later.
You got it, buddy.
Yep. Take care, Steve.
You too, bud. Yeah, at least with the voice meter, it might help equalize it a little bit. Usually that's from manual settings, right? So, and you also have to like set your output and input to voice meter rather than what you would normally set it to for your mic or your headphones, right? So you actually have to run it through voice meter, and then through your voice meter you choose your input and then you choose your output. Okay.
So we have your hardware input and your hardware output, and then you can have everything run through it.
System. You'd have to actually start your system over again.
No, it's already installed.
Yeah, it'll install, but it doesn't. Well, see, I thought when I installed it, it actually required a Windows restart, but maybe not.
It's already picked up in my voice meter output is in my sound settings.
Yeah, if I could find one for Ubuntu, that'd be great, but I haven't really looked for it yet.
Yeah. And here's the problem, right? Normally with laptops, you have just the default, headphones jack that connects to a headset. But this is like a $600 motherboard / laptop, and it has its own sound card. So I don't have a problem with that. Hook up, the actual source of the audio into the motherboard.
Yeah.
So that's not necessarily the problem, I don't think.
I mean, onboard sound card. If it's an actual sound card rather than just onboard sound, that's pretty good because it actually increases your performance. I think about 5%, but that's usually for gaming.
Yeah.
But I mean, my computer here, it doesn't have a sound card. It just has the onboard. So.
One thing I do like is the mixer I'm using is the Tube Ultra Gain Mic 200. They now make a USB version for like $70. But it runs everything through a tube, and it sounds wonderful once you get it hooked up correctly.
Just get a Raspberry Pi.
I mean, I like going through actual hardware like tubes due to the fact it adds that perfect hum, like that lifelike sound.
Yeah, there's definitely a lot of different ways you can go to get that sound and make it sound correct in a hangout, because I can hear you being pitchy or just kind of your volume's kind of going in and out.
Yeah. That's due to the microphone. The microphone constantly adjusts up and down, up and down. That's why it goes away and then it'll come back, go away. And
what I do is I will go back and I'll listen to like a video and I'll say, okay, how did my sound quality sound? And if you look at some of my older videos, dramatic change in the sound quality because I've done trial, right? And then running this new, running it as a Ubuntu system, I think it's made a huge difference too. Only because it doesn't have to like cache, and it goes.
Sorry, I fucked everything up here. Ooh. Okay.
Well, anyways, guys, I don't know. We're kind of in the close of this. I mean,
Steve, are you going to split this? Are you going to split this, in two videos?
No, I'm not going to. No, not at all. People can usually tell once we stop talking about the actual. They have moved on to something else. I don't split them up. No. But I have other hangouts that I'll be running. I got a few more guests coming in this week.
When, tonight? Wait, no,
No,
this week.
I think I'm gonna do. I got a guest on Wednesday, and I may postpone it to Friday, but I haven't decided yet. But I think on Wednesday, I also got what else I got going on this week. Oh my goodness. Oh, there's Red's Rhetoric's hangout. I think that's on the 19th. If I'm not mistaken.
What's it about?
That's drawing the panel for the Dumb Fuck of the Year.
Oh.
That's gonna be fun. And I'm trying to think. I know I got other stuff this week. I'll figure it out. Oh, I got something with Dr. Kenny Rhodes coming up.
Cool.
But anyway,
Oh,
yeah, that'll be on my actual channel, not this one. What's that?
All right. I got a question.
Yeah.
So with voice meter, right? How did you get rid of the background listening voice thing?
Oh,
the monitor.
Yeah, what you got to do is, oh my goodness, it's either A or B. You know, okay, if you're looking at the slider, there's like A, B, S, M, like stereo or whatever the hell it is. Click on one of those, and it actually mutes it.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right. There you go.
You'll see the volume go up and down, right? You'll see it on the LEDs, but you won't actually hear it in the playback. And that's a monitor feature. The reason you don't want that, obviously, because you're not listening yourself. But if you need to include that as a monitor feature, you can listen to it and see if there's a problem. But of course, you don't run it like that. So. But anyways, I hope you guys got something out of this. It was.
I know I did.
But and let me know midnight if there's other stuff that we can like go over, because this is stuff that maybe people have never been exposed to, and they go, "Oh, that is kind of a cool looking formula, right?" That is, wow, that's pretty cool that you can have 5 for the most fundamental constants all in an equation, and it just works. That's the elegancy, elegancy of some of this stuff. So
yeah. And once again, I have to say thank you for having this. I feel like I can't thank you enough. I don't know. Maybe I'll stop that. Never mind.
No, don't stop it. I appreciate it. No, but I also appreciate you wanting to do these hangouts, and you wanted to learn, and I want and people are willing to listen and learn from it. So that's awesome.
Ask Immutable. Right? Yeah, just ask Immutable.
Yeah, so I definitely appreciate that, guys. So anyways, yeah, this one coming to a close, and if I have another one later on tonight, it's going to be on. I'm trying to get one going on some religious historicity, including things with Romans 1 and the whole thing of atheists, whether they know that God exists or not. So that's going to be a cool hangout if I can get that
tonight.
Going. It may be tonight, but if not, it'll be early on in the week.
Okay, well, I mean, if you do, if you're already going to do it, you're probably going to post it on GDC anyway. Hopefully, you make it open, or at least, open enough.
Yeah, I always post it, things like that. All right, so keep track. Pirates, dude, glad to add you. If you clicked on the thing, I probably will get it here soon. I don't see it yet. But did you click link I gave you to actually join the GDC Pirate? And you got the webpage and all that kind of other stuff. So
I never got that email, by the way, man. I'm not sure what's up with that, but I will be buying. And thank you for having me. I'll certainly be back.
Awesome. That's what we like to hear. All right, guys. With that, Pirate, I don't see you added. Let me give you the link one more time. Pirates. One sec. All right, Pirates, click on that and hit join, and then you'll be officially part of the GDC G+ community. And with that, guys, I appreciate it, and we'll see you next time.